a 20-something tech bro in rumpled shorts pitching billionaires while gaming on his laptop. The world thought Sam Bankman-Fried was the next math genius turned hero, moving Bitcoin like casino chips from Tokyo to New York to earn millions with nothing but his brain and a Wi-Fi connection. But behind the legend, he was quietly building a house of cards that would vanish overnight. $32 billion gone, millions fooled. If a messy video game addict could trick Wall Street and Congress, how did no one see the truth coming? The answer starts in Japan. In 2017, Sam Bankman-Fried sat in a tiny Tokyo apartment, staring at numbers on his laptop while the city buzzed outside. He wasn't playing a video game this time. He was watching the price of Bitcoin jump up and down on different websites. On Bitflyer, Japan's biggest crypto exchange, Bitcoin sometimes cost hundreds of dollars more than it did on Coinbase, a big exchange in the United States. Sam spotted a secret most people missed. The same digital coin could be worth more just because it was sitting on the other side of the world. This wasn't like buying stocks or betting on sports. Sam saw it like a casino trick. Imagine two slot machines side by side. One pays out $10, the other $12 for the exact same win. Sam's plan was simple: buy chips at the cheap machine, run across the room, and sell them at the expensive one. In the real world, this meant buying Bitcoin in the US, sending it to Japan, and selling it for a quick profit. Every time he repeated the move, he made money out of thin air. No risk, just fast fingers and a faster Wi-Fi connection. The price gap wasn't small. In late 2017, Bitcoin traded as much as 10% higher in Japan than in the US. Some days, that meant a $2,000 difference per coin. Sam's team, soon called Alameda Research, started moving millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin back and forth. In just a few weeks, they made over $2 million, sometimes clearing $20,000 in one day. The secret was speed. The price difference only lasted for minutes before other traders noticed. Sam barely slept, glued to his laptop, running his casino chip strategy over and over. Most people didn't understand how it worked. Reporters called Sam a genius. Investors whispered about his math skills, but the trick was simple: find the price gap, move fast, and cash in before anyone else. It wasn't magic. It was just seeing what others missed and acting before the window slammed shut. That's how the legend began. A messy guy in shorts making millions by treating Bitcoin like poker chips on two casino tables. The world started to notice. Headlines called him the next Warren Buffett. But behind the messy hair and video games, Sam was already thinking about something much bigger. The money from Tokyo was just the starting bet. By early 2019, stories about Sam Bankman-Fried started popping up everywhere. Articles called him the next Warren Buffett. Reporters snapped photos of him in wrinkled t-shirts and baggy shorts, hair sticking out in every direction. He looked more like a college gamer than a Wall Street billionaire. But that was the point. The messier he appeared, the smarter people thought he must be. Investors loved the myth. They whispered about his math skills and how he barely slept, always glued to his laptop. Some bragged about meeting him on Zoom calls, where he would be playing League of Legends while raising millions of dollars. One famous meeting with Sequoia Capital in February 2019 became legend. Sam pitched his new company, FTX, while clicking away in a video game. The investors were so impressed, They poured in money, over $1 billion, without blinking. Sequoia's partners later said their hair was blown back by his confidence. They wrote glowing blog posts calling him a once-in-a-generation founder. The media ran with the story. Headlines called him a math genius and a crypto prodigy. Tech blogs compared him to Warren Buffett, the world's most famous investor. The nickname stuck. It did not matter that Sam wore socks with sandals or that his office was littered with empty soda cans and half-eaten sandwiches. The mess became part of the legend. Every photo of him sleeping on a beanbag, every tweet about skipping showers, made him seem more brilliant, more trustworthy. If Sam did not care about looking rich, people thought maybe he really was building something honest. Early investors followed the hype. They wanted a piece of the genius before everyone else caught on. Venture funds lined up, hoping his magic would rub off on them. Even big names from Silicon Valley started calling, eager to meet the Buffett of crypto. The genius myth turned into a shield. Journalists, politicians, and celebrities stopped asking hard questions. If Sam said something was safe, people believed him. If he made a risky bet, they called it vision. The legend kept growing brick by brick until no one wanted to be left out. And behind it all, Sam kept playing his game, moving fast, taking bigger risks, and building an empire that looked too smart to fail. But every legend has a weak spot. The world was busy watching the messy genius, not the moves he was making behind the curtain. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't just want to be a legend online. He wanted his name everywhere in the real world. In 2021, FTX signed a $135 million deal to put its name on the Miami Heat's basketball arena. Overnight, the old American Airlines Arena became FTX Arena. Every NBA game, every concert, every news shot of downtown Miami, FTX was front and center. It was the kind of move only the biggest brands could pull off. Most people had never even used crypto, but now FTX looked as solid as Coca-Cola or Nike. Sam, with his wild hair and wrinkled t-shirts, stood next to team owners and city leaders, grinning for the cameras. He looked more like a college kid who snuck onto the court than the man who just bought the naming rights to an NBA stadium. But Sam didn't stop with sports arenas. He wanted famous faces to us too. In 2022, he paid Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, two of the most recognizable people on the planet, over $10 million to be the faces of FTX. Brady tossed footballs in FTX commercials. Gisele promised FTX was the future. The message was clear. If the world's biggest sports star and a supermodel trusted Sam, so could you. Other celebrities joined in. Steph Curry, Shaquille O'Neal, even Larry David from TV. Each one made FTX look cooler, safer, and more like a sure thing. With every new deal, Sam's image grew. He still wore shorts and played video games, but now he was everywhere, on billboards, in Super Bowl ads, and on the lips of every big investor. People started to believe FTX was too big to fail. It felt like everyone wanted to get in before they missed out. Politicians wanted to meet Sam. He was invited to private dinners in Washington, D.C. He donated millions to political campaigns, making friends in high places. Behind the scenes, FTX was spending money faster than anyone could count, on ads, on stadiums, on celebrities. But on the outside, it all looked like pure genius. The messy kid from the beanbag chair had built a fortress of trust, with famous faces guarding the gates. But when the lights faded and the cameras stopped flashing, the real power of those deals became clear. Sam had made himself untouchable. No one wanted to believe anything bad could happen to the man whose name was on an NBA arena, whose friends were the most famous people in the world. The world saw a hero. Sam, he saw a shield. And behind that shield, he was ready to make even bigger moves. Money opened doors that even fame could not. Sam Bankman-Fried started sending millions to political campaigns, not just for show, but to build a wall of powerful friends. In 2022 alone, he funneled $5 million to Future Forward PAC, a group that boosted Democratic candidates. Another $2 million landed at America First Action, a Republican super PAC. These weren't small checks. They made Sam one of the biggest political donors in the country, right behind names like George Soros and Ken Griffin. His team set up special PACs like Protect Our Future, pouring in $11 million, all under the banner of pandemic prevention and effective altruism. On paper, the money was to help save lives. In reality, it bought Sam private dinners with lawmakers, spots at closed-door meetings, and a voice in the halls of Congress. Politicians started calling him visionary. Some even used his talking points when writing new crypto bills. Sam's donations came with a catch. He spread the money to both parties, making sure no matter who won, FTX would be welcome. His name showed up in campaign finance records, but most people missed the fine print. Some donations were made using other people's names or funneled through shell companies. Even FTX employees were told to give, then reimbursed later. That skirted campaign finance laws, but nobody in Washington seemed to care. Lawmakers who took his money backed off on tough questions. They praised FTX as a model company. Regulators hesitated to dig deeper. As one insider put it, he made himself untouchable. Sam's influence was everywhere, hidden in plain sight. He bragged about his vision. We're here to build a better future. Behind the scenes, his money bought silence and protection. The watchdogs were asleep, and the casino kept spinning. But every shield has cracks. While politicians smiled for the cameras, nobody noticed the hidden cheat code running deep inside FTX, a secret that no donation could cover up forever. Gary Wang, the quiet coder who helped build FTX from the ground up, spent most days behind glowing screens, writing the rules that made the exchange run. In 2019, as FTX was taking off, Sam Bankman-Fried asked Gary to add something strange to the code, a hidden switch deep inside the system. This wasn't a normal feature. It was a secret setting called Allow Negative. For almost every user, FTX worked like a normal bank. You couldn't take out more money than you put in. If your balance hit zero, the game was over. But with this special flag, one account could keep going even when it had nothing left. No alarms, no warnings, not even a red number on the screen. The only account with this power belonged to Alameda Research, Sam's own trading firm. With the Allow Negative flag flipped on, Alameda could pull money out of FTX even when they were already deep in the red. It was like giving your best friend a magic ATM card that never ran out, no matter how empty the vault got. Gary wrote the code quietly, following Sam's instructions. There were no meetings, no paper trail, just a few lines tucked away in the back end. If anyone checked the books, Alameda's negative balance was invisible. The regular risk checks and safety nets simply didn't apply. On the outside, FTX bragged about being the safest, smartest exchange in crypto. But under the hood, the allow negative flag turned off all the locks for one secret door. No one from the risk team or the accountants got alerts. The software just nodded and let it happen, as if everything was normal. Gary later testified that he knew it was wrong, but Sam had the final say. The code worked exactly as planned. Alameda could borrow and spend billions of dollars that belonged to ordinary customers, and nobody else would know. This wasn't an accident or a bug. The cheat code was built on purpose, months before any crisis. It sat there, waiting, like a trapdoor under the casino floor. When times got tough and Alameda started losing big, Sam and Gary already had the tool ready. FTX looked like a fortress on the outside, but inside, one secret line of code could drain it dry. The world kept calling Sam a genius. Only a handful of people knew the real trick was hiding in plain sight. In November 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried sat at his computer, watching numbers drop faster than ever before. Billions were vanishing from FTX as customers rushed to pull out their money. But behind the chaos, something even bigger was happening, a silent drain that no one outside the inner circle could see. Using a secret switch in the code, Sam and his team began moving money out of FTX accounts and into Alameda Research. This wasn't a few million here or there. Over $10 billion in customer funds slipped through the back door that only Sam and his closest allies controlled. The regular staff, the risk team, even the outside auditors saw nothing wrong. Their screens showed normal balances, no red flags, no alarms. Inside the company's private Slack chat, a message popped up. One engineer asked about the missing money. Sam replied with a single word: fix. That was all it took. The code made the problem disappear from the books. To the outside world, FTX was still whole. Underneath, the vault was nearly empty. Every time Alameda lost money on risky bets, Sam used this secret code to refill their account with customer cash. The money was spent on everything: trades, luxury real estate in the Bahamas, political donations, and wild parties. No one outside the inner circle knew the truth. The accountants saw numbers that looked right, but the real money was gone. Even the people hired to keep FTX safe were locked out of the system that kept track of the missing billions. When customers started asking for their money back, there was nothing left to give. The only thing holding the company together was the illusion of safety, patched up by Sam's magic code and a few messages in Slack. By the time the truth started leaking out, more than $10 billion had already vanished. The world was about to find out that the fortress was hollow, and the man everyone trusted had pulled off one of the biggest heists in history. But outside the FTX offices, rumors were spreading. Traders and investors started to notice strange delays and missing funds. The market was about to react, and when it did, the fallout would be unstoppable. The most expensive penthouse in the Bahamas sat high above the ocean, filled with 20-somethings who ran a $32 billion empire like it was a college dorm. Sam Bankman-Fried called it home, along with his closest friends, his ex-girlfriend Caroline Ellison, and a tangle of roommates who doubled as company bosses, coders, and sometimes lovers. The place cost $40 million. It had 6 bedrooms, a private pool, and enough space for all-night meetings that turned into parties. Inside, the rules were simple: work, play, repeat. Some days, Caroline led strategy meetings, while others played video games in the next room. At night, the group gathered for takeout and board games, then drifted into marathon talks about saving the world or just making more money. Nobody wore suits. Sam shuffled around in shorts and socks, hair wild, eyes glued to his laptop. The dining table was stacked with laptops, empty pill bottles, and half-eaten food. MDMA and other party drugs were easy to find. Sometimes, the group would take a break from spreadsheets to pop a pill and dance around the living room, music shaking the glass walls. Sam's public image was all about being the awkward genius who slept on beanbags. But in the penthouse, he was king. He kept a whiteboard in the kitchen called the risk meter. It tracked bets, trades, and sometimes even who owed who a favor. The board changed every day, covered in inside jokes and wild numbers. The group called themselves a polycule, a web of overlapping relationships that blurred the line between business and romance. Caroline, who ran Alameda Research, wasn't just Sam's old flame. She was his loyal lieutenant, helping him shuffle billions across the globe while living just a few doors down the hall. The whole place ran on adrenaline and trust. Decisions worth millions were made over pizza and soda, sometimes while someone was half asleep on the couch. When things got tense, the group would order more food, play another round of League of Legends, or just crank up the music and forget about the outside world. The penthouse felt untouchable, a secret clubhouse where the rules didn't apply. But under the surface, cracks were spreading. The more money vanished from FTX, the wilder the parties got. The people who called themselves the smartest in the room were starting to lose control, even as the world still believed in their genius. One night, as the sun came up over the water, Sam stared at the risk meter, surrounded by empty cans and friends who trusted him with everything. Nobody knew it yet, but the game they were playing was about to end. On November 6, 2022, a single tweet changed everything. Changpeng Zhao, known as CZ, was the boss of Binance, the world's biggest crypto exchange. His message was short, but it hit like a warning siren. Binance would sell all its FTT tokens, the digital chips that powered FTX. CZ said he didn't trust what was happening behind the scenes. That tweet landed like a bomb in the crypto world. Within minutes, traders everywhere started to panic. Phones buzzed, group chats exploded, people rushed to log into FTX, desperate to pull out their money before it was too late. Withdrawals flooded in, hundreds at first, then thousands, then millions. In just 3 days, over $6 billion vanished from FTX accounts. The site that once bragged about safety and speed now showed spinning wheels and frozen balances. Some users stared at their screens, reading the same message again and again. Withdrawals are temporarily disabled. Sam Bankman-Fried, sitting in his Bahamas penthouse, watched the numbers drop. The dashboard that once showed billions now flashed red. Every hour brought more bad news. Investors called, demanding answers. Employees messaged, asking if their jobs were safe. But Sam had no real fix. The money was gone, moved through secret channels, spent on risky bets, parties, and luxury condos. There was no magic code to bring it back. Outside, the world watched as FTX fell apart in real time. News outlets ran headlines about the crypto bank run. Social media filled with screenshots of empty accounts and angry posts from people who couldn't get their money out. CZ's tweet had started us stamped, and there was no stopping it. Even Sam's old friends began to distance themselves, worried they'd be caught in the collapse. Inside FTX, panic turned to silence. Staff locked out of systems. Customer support stopped answering. The company that once looked untouchable was now begging for help. Sam tried to call up rivals and investors, searching for a last-minute rescue. No one wanted to be the next to fall. By November 8th, the truth was out. The fortress was empty. Billions had disappeared, and the world finally saw the cracks that had been hiding behind Sam's messy hair and beanbag chair. But the fallout was just beginning. The law was coming, and Sam's closest allies were about to make the most painful choice of all. Caroline Ellison sat in the witness chair, hands shaking, voice barely above a whisper. For years, she had been Sam's closest ally, his ex-girlfriend, the CEO of Alameda Research, and the person he trusted to move billions in secret. Now, she was staring straight at him across the courtroom, telling the world what really happened inside FTX. Under oath, Caroline confessed that she had lied to banks, to investors, and to customers. She admitted that Alameda took money from FTX users and used it to cover wild bets, buy luxury condos, and pay back debts. She said Sam told her to do it. The courtroom went silent as she described the moment she realized the money was gone. "I knew it was wrong," she said, "but Sam was in charge. I did what he asked." Next came Gary Wang, the quiet coder who had built FTX's engine from scratch. Gary was the one who wrote the secret code, the allow negative flag, that let Alameda borrow money from FTX accounts without anyone noticing. He told the judge that Sam asked him to add it. It was so Alameda could keep trading even when it had no money left, Gary said. "I knew it wasn't right, but I did it anyway." Both Caroline and Gary had made deals with the prosecutors. In exchange for telling the truth, they would get lighter sentences. Their words were like a wrecking ball, smashing the last pieces of Sam's defense. The people who once called him a genius now called him a thief. The inner circle, the polycule that once trusted Sam with everything, was gone. As Caroline spoke, her voice broke. She described nights in the Bahamas, watching the numbers fall, knowing customers would never get their money back. She said she was scared, but Sam told her to keep quiet. Gary's face stayed blank as he explained how easy it was to hide the missing billions. No alarms, no warnings, just a few lines of code and a nod from the boss. The jury listened to every word. Each confession made Sam look less like a misunderstood math nerd and more like a man who had betrayed his friends to save himself. The courtroom was filled with reporters, victims, and former employees. Some wiped away tears. Others just stared, stunned that the people who built FTX were now tearing it down. When the testimony ended, Sam sat alone at the defense table. The people who once called him their leader had turned on him one by one. The verdict was almost certain, but the final sentence, the real price of betrayal, was still to come. Sam Bankman-Fried stood as the judge read out the sentence. The courtroom was silent, except for the sound of papers shuffling and the clicks of reporters' keyboards. After weeks of testimony, after hearing his closest friends describe how he ordered them to move billions in secret, it all came down to this moment. The judge didn't hold back. He called Sam's crimes very serious and said the damage stretched far beyond lost money. "You took advantage of trust on a massive scale," the judge said. "People all over the world believed in you. You betrayed them." The sentence, 25 years in federal prison. For Sam, it was longer than he'd been alive when he started trading Bitcoin in that tiny Tokyo apartment. Longer than the entire life of FTX. The courtroom was packed, but Sam looked alone. No more friends, no more beanbag chair, no more video games to distract him. He barely reacted as the judge listed the reasons: the secret code, the missing billions, the lies to customers, the donations meant to buy silence. The judge said, "This was not an accident. This was a deliberate choice, over and over again, to put yourself above everyone else." Victims had written letters. Some lost their life savings. Others lost hope in the idea that someone smart and young could actually change the world for good. The judge read a few lines out loud. "I trusted Sam with everything I had. Now I have nothing." Another said, "He seemed like a hero. He was just another thief." The sentence was final. 25 years. No chance to go back and fix the code. No way to undo the nights in the penthouse or the deals with politicians. Sam was led away in handcuffs, head down, still wearing the same messy haircut that once made him look harmless. The cost of the fraud wasn't just in dollars. It was in broken trust, ruined lives, and a lesson that even the smartest person in the room can lose everything when the truth comes out. Today, millions trust digital platforms with their life savings, often without understanding the risks beneath the code. In a world where one unchecked line can erase billions overnight, the real gamble isn't crypto or casinos, it's blind faith. As new empires rise, the lesson remains simple. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Stay curious and question everything. What would you have done differently? Let me know in the comments.